Hello and welcome to a Football Chat Show episode 5. I am Ewan again, your host. I'm joined with Jamie again this week. Jamie, how you doing?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Funnily enough, this week we have another January on the podcast. We've got my brother, Toby, is our first guest. How you doing, Tobes?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to be on.
Yeah, good. So
I've never heard you sound like the more unenthusiastic about it.
Yeah, or
good.
nervous.
Oh no, I'm genuinely, I'm smiling right now.
Okay, that's good.
I'm very happy to be involved.
This is a first episode in international break for us. So we thought we'll do it a bit different. Obviously, we'll look at we'll look at the football again that's coming up this weekend. No, just gone this weekend. Sorry.
I was going to say.
And then we're going to do a slightly different episode this week. Which is going to be our favourite 11s of all time. We've all got them written down. We've kind of had discussions about them. We haven't told everyone our final ones yet. I think Jamie might have told everyone his final ones, but apart from that, we haven't. So that's going to come up in a bit. But we're going to start on the football this weekend, and we're going to dive straight into it again. Again, it starts with United again this week, Jamie.
Joy.
1-1 draw with Everton. Talk us through it.
I think these 5 episodes, you could find the parts where we talk about United, and I've said the same thing probably every time. It's just sadness at the moment. We just don't play great football. It's another game where we probably didn't deserve the draw or to win. We didn't start Ronaldo, which was probably the main headline. We gave a start to Anthony Martial. Didn't start Sancho, didn't start Pogba. Our bench was like Man City's bench normally. It was amazing. But yeah, so we scored in the first half. I must confess, didn't watch the game. I was watching the new James Bond film. But got back and watched the highlights, and we scored first. Good goal from Anthony Martial, to be fair to him.
Very good.
Yeah, I don't think he should be anywhere near the United team at the moment. Doesn't warrant the space, and has been awful every time he's played, but did score, so can't complain too much there. We did actually make early subs, which is something Ollie has never done. Ronaldo and Sancho, I think, came on in like the 57th minute or something, which for Ollie is really early. So you could tell that he was not feeling it, but it wasn't enough. We conceded through Andros Townsend. Did the Ronaldo?
It was the most
Ronaldo
it's
celebration.
Been coming goal I've seen in a long time. But it was definitely coming from Everton.
Somehow he managed to get Ronaldo's shirt after the game, so I don't know how the fuck he managed that. But, I'm sure he told the story on TalkSport or whatever he does in his free time. But just
on Twitter, goes on Instagram.
Just another disappointing result. And I messaged my dad afterwards, just like I can't be doing this anymore. Like, do you want Zidane or do you want Ten Hag? Or what do you want? We just want something different, I think. But our board won't get rid of him until something really bad happens. And we've been talking about our fixtures coming up in the next like 10 or so games anyway. In the past couple of episodes, and they are an absolute nightmare. So it's really I've thought it before, but it's really make or break now.
But is it again, as you said? Are they gonna bite the bullet even if he doesn't produce the results? You know what I mean? Are they actually?
I think they have to.
That's
I don't think that you can go through the patch that we've got. We've got the other 5 of the top 6 within, and some intermittent Champions League games in there. I think we've spoken about it before, that you can't lose those games, but because we've lost or dropped points in games that you should win, we therefore have to take up wins in games that you wouldn't have necessarily had to.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I can see what you mean by that. Yeah,
I think it's
you're the only one out of those top 4 as well that hasn't really played what you'd call like a challenger yet. You haven't played a Chelsea, City,
exactly.
or Liverpool.
We had a really easy start to the season.
They've all played each other now, so it's like you've got to play them, and it's like that's not ideal. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Especially because those guys kind of kept each other within touching distance in all those games. They've all drawn with each other, so it's a bit like, well, it's kind of set up for them to like beat you, really, isn't it?
It is really a make or break period for Man United, especially Ollie. It's weird, a few seasons in, you wouldn't really want to be saying make or break for him, but
look, the thing with Ollie is I have to give him the most credit of any United manager since Fergie, because he's built an absolutely like a team that is like worlds above what we had 2 years ago.
Yeah, 100%.
But he just needs to get it working. Otherwise, he's going to be the person that created it and then hands it on to somebody else to win something with it, which would be a shame.
Yeah, his lineup felt very, very like what Watford should have put out, like a big change. Like, oh, we'll drop our star man, we'll drop our big signing of the summer, we'll drop all these other players alongside them. And then it didn't pay off. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the time you see them players that don't get the games off and jump in. I mean, to be fair, Martial took his chance, didn't he? But you often see those fringe players who've been given games that, like, Lindelof should have performed better than you did, and etc. You just didn't see that from United. Toes and I did watch it, as we're watching most of the football these days, and it wasn't very inspiring from United at all. It was very similar to the midweek game. Obviously, you just didn't win it at the end.
Yeah.
But you never looked like winning it. Yeah, they just never looked like winning it, did they?
No.
You just never really looked like you were going to... Even after you scored, it was a bit like, well, maybe if you get a good period of 10, 15 minutes here, you'll be all right, but you just didn't. Do you know what I mean?
There were fleeting moments where you were like, oh, United might score here, but it was like a 2-minute period, and then Everton were back on the ball.
All right, boys, all right, I get it, I understand. We're shit.
No, we're just giving our honest assessment.
I'm joking.
But yeah, I mean, it's not looking great, is it?
Well, to be fair, it's not like we're like, you know, on the same sort of points as Arsenal. We're still like, you know, up there.
You're still within. Yeah.
You're not in the turmoil at the top.
No, but we're still we just aren't picking up the points you want to pick up. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean,
the thing is, well,
probably a saving grace that you're heading into an international break as well.
Maybe
because it gives those players a chance to go ahead, reset, go and meet up with these international teams, come back, and then they can kind of go like, right, they're not fresh because they're going to be travelling around the continent, but we've had time away from this. We're back. We're fully focused now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could go that way, but it could go the other way. At the
I
same
think
time.
I said it last week. The only shred of optimism I have as a United fan at the moment is Marcus Rashford might be fit after the international break, which is good.
Yeah, I do hope for him he is, because it's always good to see Marcus Rashford fit and healthy.
True.
But yeah, I think that's probably all we can say. I mean, we're kind of discrediting Everton here. They were quite decent. The thing with them is they didn't look like a team who are on the points they're on, in terms of like they went to United to defend. They didn't go to like play them off the park. Do you know what I mean? It's very Rafa. Very Rafa,
Yeah.
So it's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
He did it at Newcastle, he did it at Chelsea, he didn't do it at Liverpool because he was kind of new there, but he just makes them tough to beat, which is fine. I just think that we saw a couple of weeks ago, we saw them lose to Villa, and you think if you go to another team like a Villa, who are in and around that same level as you, they're going to find you out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean,
that was an emphatic loss to Villa as well.
Yeah, we need to potentially not discredit these teams that are playing the Uniteds, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, but at the same time, I'm not going to jump the gun on Everton yet, because everyone does it every year, and then they end up about 15th.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to move on now.
Just got to see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to move on now to... We'll look at Chelsea-Southampton next. Chelsea obviously come away with the win, 3-1 win in the end, which was marred with a bit of controversy. James Ward-Prowse saw red, and Toes, go on, give us your thoughts on this.
Well, I haven't seen much of what happened in the game. I saw the highlights, so I was keeping up with it during the day. I saw Timo Werner had another goal disallowed by VAR, which I thought was unfortunate for him, but then he got on the score sheet. And I didn't see... I can't remember who the other two goal scorers are for Chelsea, but I think at 1-1 I thought it might be a tough game for Chelsea, and then they came away with the 3-1 victory. And you just think after the result they got against City, and then midweek against Juventus in the Champions League, that you thought they might be on a bit of a downhill spiral in the coming weeks, but they've seemed to have bounced back from it. And I think a win against a team like Southampton's needed, because you can't afford to be drawing or losing, especially when people have tipped them to be title winners, if not title contenders this season. So I think a 3-1 victory for them is ideal, and not ideal for the teams around them at the moment.
We said this in the podcast last week. United and City have both dropped points to Southampton, so it's not actually that bad of a thing. Werner, again, I think he had 16 goals 16 now disallowed, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's outrageous,
16.
isn't it? That's outrageous.
Mental.
You shouldn't be in that situation as a top-class striker.
No.
And what I find funny about him is, like, he genuinely thinks he scored every time. It's like, so many pros know they haven't. Do you know what I mean? You see him doing all these, like, knee slides, and it's like, Timo, give it 5 seconds, mate. Every time you score now, give it 5 seconds. Just wait to see what happens. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, yeah. What can we say? We kind of said it was going to go this way, didn't we? I didn't think Southampton would potentially put up as much of a fight as they did. I did think that Chelsea would come out of the blocks a little bit quicker. They did, which they didn't. But I mean, the game changed at that red card, which is a definite red card.
Yeah.
Conditions don't help. But yeah, I mean, Jamie, have you got any thoughts on that at all?
I'll say I haven't seen the red card, but I think the main part, as Tobe said, coming out of two losses on the bounce, first time under Tuchel, they needed to come back with a win. So, and to be fair, you would expect them to at Stamford Bridge, against Southampton. So it's an expected result, but one that they needed, I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
100%.
We'll go on to the last big game of the weekend. Which was Burnley-Norwich. No, I'm joking. It was Liverpool City at Anfield, which, for once, Jamie predicted absolutely bang on the money.
Look at me
I mean, round of applause, Toes, come on.
Yeah.
Well done, Jamie, well done. That's outstanding work. But to be fair, on the balance of the game, it shouldn't have been a 2-2 draw. I mean, Liverpool definitely should not have got 3 points, but we'll dive into that now. I think we all watched this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can all give our probably literally the same opinion because it was exactly how the game went. The first half was very much all Manchester City in terms of they had a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
It might be Liverpool bias, but although they had a lot of the ball, they didn't create huge amounts of stuff that really made me worry. In terms of
should I say the line that every commentator in the world likes to say about Man City is that they don't have a number 9. So
yeah, exactly. But this was it. It was like,
but the number 9 they were playing was out wide.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, their typical striker, and stuck him on the right wing, and he was almost in a right wing back role sometimes when they were attacking. It's like you've got number 9 on the pitch, you utilise him better than you did.
It was, I think, as a Liverpool fan watching it, I would love to watch it back. I just don't have the patience to watch back a game for a full 90 minutes that I know exactly what happens in. But I think the thing that in the 90 in the time as well that felt like it just felt like we didn't have the ball in the first half, which we didn't. But when we did have it, we didn't move with it. I remember saying to you, Tobes, like, why are we hanging around with the ball at the back so much? Yeah. Just get the ball up the pitch and contest it in the middle third. But the thing is, when it went in the middle third, we were losing the battle in there. In that first half, we were so overrun. Henderson looked so leggy, and Fabinho and Curtis Jones looked like they were doing all the work. I mean, especially Fabinho. The amount of times I mentioned to you how out of position he was for what we usually see Fabinho in, which allowed the Fodens, the Grealishes, the Bernardo Silvas, especially Bernardo Silva, because he was quite deep enough to affect it, to run the game. But yeah, with all that pressure, they only really had 2 big moments, which was the De Bruyne header and the Foden trip.
The Alisson save.
And the 3 big moments, which is quite a lot to be fair in the first half. But yeah, anyway, the Bernardo dribble round everyone and pass it to
spectacular.
Foden. Yeah, it was kind of the start of what was an amazing performance from Bernardo Silva, really, wasn't it? And Foden really should have done better with that. I think personally, but yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, I mean. Then the De Bruyne header, which we've already talked about, and we said he should have done 10 times better with.
Oh man, such poor decision making.
It's like open space. If he's going to header it, he's got to at least get it on target.
Could you just imagine
he's got to control? He has the time he has the time and composure to control.
Yeah, well,
one of the best players in the Premier League.
I think he must have timed it red. I think.
Yeah.
Could you just imagine if that was Harry Kane or even Aguero on the end of that? That's in the back of the net. That's 1-0 City.
Well, it's at least troubling Alisson. Like
exactly. Well, the thing is, it's probably a goal because Alisson's coming across from across, probably not set. So wherever you put it, he's going to struggle. Do you know what I mean?
And it's straight at him.
So yeah, and then there's that Foden trip, which is like cynical from Milner, but gets lucky because it's just outside the box. Again, there's probably not much we can say on it because it is probably a foul.
It's a foul,
doesn't get
but it's not a pen.
But the thing is, it was coming the whole time. Like Milner was on absolute toast that first half. Grealish and Foden were running rings around him, which was just not fun to see.
I think the commentators probably pointed out during the match, but I think for someone with so much experience and definitely someone you consider a veteran, I think Milner didn't handle Foden as well as he could have, and we saw him handle Zaha quite well.
Yeah, this was what
Palace
confused
aren't
me.
as a bigger team as City, but I think he did get run ragged by Foden at the weekend. And disclaimer to all the listeners, I'm also a Liverpool fan like Ewan. And watching Milner for the last few seasons, we've seen him do really well in defensive positioning, but I think against City he was just turned inside out by Foden at the weekend.
It was a bit weird. I don't know how to explain it, but like the Zaha one is the one you thought would trouble him more than the Foden one because Zaha's so quick, but he just seemed to have his number. Whereas Foden, the thing is, Foden is tricky in the same way as Zaha. He can go inside out, but he's not as quick. He doesn't have that burst of pace.
The problem with Zaha is he doesn't have 3 players behind him that can play him the ball anywhere.
Yeah, that's probably it, isn't it? But the thing, but I'm also kind of going on the fact that Foden can go in that way, go inside, come back outside, go back inside, and Milner should be able to keep up with that. If he was to knock it past him, he's not going to keep up with him. He's going to keep up with him, sorry. Foden isn't as fast as Zaha, that's just a fact.
Thanks.
But if Zaha did that, you'd kind of go, he's going to go inside and outside and then inside and then run past him. But he didn't, which is where I'm struggling to compute it. I mean, Foden is just such an unbelievable talent, so you probably can't underestimate how difficult it is to defend him.
He's quite good at football, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then it leads us nicely into the second half, which was exactly what everyone thought Liverpool City was going to be. One of the just greatest 45 minutes of football, which was just such high quality football, which was kick-started by a unbelievable Liverpool goal, which resulted in Mane scoring. I don't think I'm being big-headed or biased or anything in saying that the Liverpool goals in this game were of high class. I'm not saying the City goals weren't. I'm just saying, as we're on the Liverpool goals, they were top quality, both of them. If you look at where they take it back for the first goal, it comes all the way from Alisson, and we play some beautiful football, which gives it into Salah, who's just on fire at the moment. What are your boys' thoughts on well? And we can even say let's just do all the goals at once and kind of roll them into one. City then equalised, didn't they? With a nice little move from Jesus, who gave it to Foden with an unbelievable finish. To be fair, right in that bottom corner, no keeper stands a
trademark
chance.
No look finish.
Yeah, it was a great finish in the end, wasn't it? And then it's the goal of the match, really, wasn't it? Mohamed Salah sending 4 or 5 of them to the dressing room, and then finishing it past Ederson, and then again just another very well worked goal from City.
Stadium.
Yeah, another good goal from City that De Bruyne finished. So where do we want to kick it off?
I think start with the first goal. I think the Liverpool, as you say, the build up to that goal was some of the best footballing, like one of the best footballing goals you can watch over the weekend, and we've done it before against City. I remember back in, I think, the 2018-19 season.
Yeah.
The year before we won the league, the year we won the Champions League, we scored a very similar footballing goal against City, where we've worked it all the way from the back, passed it around about 40 times, worked it into the box and then scored. And it's just like not many teams at the moment can do that against City, where they pass it from one end of the pitch to the other.
As Klopp said, if you'd watched the first half, you wouldn't have thought Liverpool could have done it.
No,
but he obviously went in there, set off a firework, and the boys come out absolutely firing.
Yeah,
I think it's without going too far. I think you prefer that goal, don't you, Toes? You love the little Mo Salah run with the little pass. I know that
I love them equally as much. I think the thing about the first one is the way Mo Salah just goes past Cancelo. Cancelo has been on form for the last season and carrying on to this season. To show him up like that is just unbelievable, and then to have the composure, because sometimes Mo can pick out the wrong pass, but Mane made an absolutely devastating run, which is so hard to defend.
Yeah,
because he's taken the inside of Diaz, so Diaz has to turn, and he's lost Mane by the time the ball's got to Mane, and then Mane finishes it as a footballing goal. I love that, and I love Mo Salah's goal because he's just shown everyone as into the dressing room and then sent the ball out the stadium. Yeah, and I think I appreciate both goals as much as the other.
Yeah, Jamie, I'd like to hear your thoughts on not just the Liverpool goals but the City goals as well.
I'm just quietly sat here crying.
But as a team as a supporter of a team that's looking at these two as potential challengers, let's be honest. Like let's take out the form. Like you still expect to be in and around this conversation with 10 weeks to go. How do you look at this game, especially the second half? How do you look at that and go like, what are your thoughts on it?
It's just really depressing because, like, you watch these two teams. Whether you think Liverpool should have won the game, whether you think Chelsea, whether you think City should have won the game, is kind of irrelevant because you watch that second half and you see two teams at the top of European football playing just like just an absolutely brilliant football match. And as a neutral, which I'm not, you watch that and you're like, well, this is amazing. I'm so entertained. I'm just watching these amazing world-class players ping the ball around and score some amazing goals. Whereas I'm watching it and going, the players in my team, player for player, aren't that much worse than the players in this team. Why can't I watch my team do this?
I know what you mean.
Which is sad. But
we've already talked about the reason you can't watch your team do this.
Well, yeah.
Ole, ole, ole. I'm joking.
But yeah, I mean, you say that, right? But like every manager has to start. So I mean, have you ever watched like any of the early games for Klopp for Dortmund or before that?
No, I mean, I can think back to his early Liverpool when he didn't have the personnel and some of the games would die. And
by the way, I'm not defending Ole here. He's 3 years into the fucking job. We should have won something by now. But
I completely know what you mean. I just think that perhaps some people just know football differently, and they just will always know football differently. Do you know what I mean? And Pep is definitely one of these people because he's kind of invented a whole style of football, and so is Klopp, to be fair, in terms of this high press and then
I don't want to do is take us away from the Liverpool game because it was astounding, and Mo Salah's goal is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it?
It'll be up for goal of the season.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, it's someone said it's one of those goals that in 50, 60 years you tell your grandkids about. You go like, we had a player on our team who could do this. You know what I mean? I don't think Suarez was good enough to do this, but potentially not while at Liverpool. But I don't think I remember a player being as good as Salah is in this current moment for Liverpool. It leads me into a question I've got written on our little episode guide, which is how good is Mohamed Salah right now? Because that's kind of the talk that's come out of the game. The early talk was Liverpool got away with one, Milner should have been sent off, which he definitely should have been. The thing is, that's been done to death by the time we release this. He should have been gone, no doubt about it. So we're not even going to touch on that. But it went. Milner should have been sent off. Liverpool got lucky. City looked really good. Missed opportunity. Fair play, Liverpool is kind of how it's gone. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And now the conversation switched to, is Mo Salah the best player in the world on current form? And what do you guys think?
Yes.
I know Toby's thoughts. I want Jamie's. Jamie, that's so surprising from you.
How? Who else is better at football than Mo Salah right now?
The thing is, like, if we're going...
I know Ewan's on.
I think he is. But the thing is, like, you're looking at these players, and the reason people are saying it about Salah is because of his stats and stuff. And there's players around the world, like Karim Benzema, who's got really similar stats. Are you looking at it that Mo Salah's done it in these big games already, which, to be fair, he has, do you know what I mean? Benzema didn't stop his team losing against Sheriff, so I can kind of see that argument now, do you know what I mean?
Look, I don't think we can ever discredit Benzema.
Yeah, no, I'm not discrediting him, but at some point, you can't necessarily take away player performance from team performance, because, I mean, you could say that the fact that Paul Pogba has 7 assists in the league in 7 games is impressive, but we've been bad. So
yeah, that's fair enough.
You wouldn't consider Paul Pogba to be the best midfielder in the world at the moment, I don't think.
No, that's fair enough.
But because we've been awful, if we'd have won all of our 7 games, then I think you probably would be having that conversation. But
after the first 3, you probably would have gone, yeah, he's up there. Do you know what I mean? Because he was at the point.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So, team performance shows a lot on the player performance. So the fact that Real Madrid lost to Sheriff will mean that people won't consider Benzema to be
that's fair enough.
Top of the world.
But it is also fair enough because at the moment PSG aren't exactly lighting the world on fire. So it would be wrong to say in this current moment Messi is the best footballer on form, because he's not. Because
form, Ronaldo's a better player than Messi, but I don't believe that's true. So it's all...
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Yeah, but as you say, on form...
Exactly.
Probably right now Ronaldo is performing better than Messi, and like...
Yeah. That debate's for another day. We're not going on that today.
No, that's not... I wasn't trying to say that. I'm just saying that...
No. But I know your point. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm pleased you said that, because as a Liverpool fan, so many times over the last few seasons, in fact, we've gone, this player's great, potentially one of the best in the world, and we always get laughed at. Do you know what I mean? Like when we were going on about Van Dijk, it was like, we've not seen someone this good for Liverpool. And to be fair, not many Premier League teams have seen defenders as good as Van Dijk. There's only 2 or 3 with United. Four teams potentially have seen defenders as good. United with Ferdinand and Vidic, Chelsea with Terry, City with Company, and Arsenal you probably go like a Sol Campbell or someone. Tony Adams was really good as well.
I think I'd say is form ebbs and flows, right? But right now there is not a better player on the planet than Mo Salah.
And the other thing with Salah is it goes under the radar. He's been doing it for 5 seasons now. It's not like he goes. It's not like he goes. Like the best player I can use as an example is Hazard. It's not like he takes 10 months off and goes, I'll do it next year. Do you know what I mean? New manager, I'll do it for them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Salah's done it. Salah's done it every season he's at Liverpool. He scored 100 goals for Liverpool in the league in 5 seasons. It's 20 goals a season from a winger. That's outrageous. Do you know what I mean?
That was the point I was going to raise. Like, I don't think we can say when Mo Salah came in, he was obviously like.
There was no way at the point he was. No.
Like after a season, you're going, this player is fantastic. He's in that elite category. After 2 seasons as a Liverpool fan, you're going, he's just got back-to-back golden boots. This player is definitely becoming world class and top and in that top bracket. And then I think it's taken the next 3 seasons for some people to really appreciate and give Mo Salah respect. He is as one of the top performers in the world.
That's a great point. Because even after that first season at Liverpool, I kind of did think, where's he going? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You don't score 32 goals back to back, and then he scored like 25, and I was like, oh, fair enough. Like, that's quite good.
But that's still
do you know what I mean? Yeah, but like to follow up a 32 goal season with 20 plus is incredible because not many people would do that. So
and the thing I saw after Saturday was the amount of people going, I think we should finally give Mo Salah the respect he deserves. Like, why is it finally?
The thing is,
there's all these other players we give the respect they deserve like almost immediately.
But why should we worry about that as Liverpool fans?
I was going to say we're Liverpool and United fans here. None of our players have ever got.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying is we've got people we know that text us on Sunday saying, "Oh, Mo Salah is amazing. I'm going to finally admit it." It's like what have we been telling you? Like, we know we bang on about some guys. We've hyped up players in the past who have just fizzled out. We've had campaigns, but everyone's kind of been like, Salah is the boy and will always be the boy as long as he's in Liverpool because he's just so good. But I think we'll talk about Salah a bit later, I'm sure, because as we said, we're going to do a slightly different segment today. I want to touch on something quickly. We mentioned Benzema and his record. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern, PSG all lost on the same weekend, and it's like the first time in a very long time that's happened. Which is
like back in 2003. It's like 2003 or 2008. It was one of those.
Yeah, years. I think it really highlights the kind of state of European football outside of England at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of highlights money doesn't talk. Do you know what I mean? Because all these players, all these teams, bar Bayern,
I was going to say
Barcelona, Real Madrid, and PSG, the Super League. And PSG weren't, to be fair, but PSG have spent huge money in the last few years, haven't they? Messi, the summer they've had, they should be winning every game 5-0, and it should literally be like, we'll give you a 3-goal head start to the opposition. Do you know what I mean? But the fact it's not is quite interesting. I just wanted to touch on that. I just wanted to mention it because it's a crazy stat, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move this on to our favourite 11 of all time. So we're going to be making a team that contains our favourite players of all time. It's not a dream 11. I want to make that very clear. For the players who have made us absolutely fall in love with the game. There'll be some surprises, but without further ado, let's get on to it. I'm going to go to Jamie first because I think that Tobes and I are going to have very similar teams.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Do you want to split you two down the middle and put me in the middle so then there's a bit of a gap between
all right, yeah, go on then. Right, we'll say our goalies first. Mine's going to be Alisson.
Wow.
Yeah, mine's going to be Alisson as well.
Jamie, what's yours?
Mine's David De Gea.
There we go. Well, the thing is, we can talk about them both of them now because Premier League, both in the Premier League, we've watched them for years. I was kind of thinking, like, is there anyone else who I'm, like, attached to as a goalkeeper? Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people will go Neuer, like neutrals and not neutrals, but people who potentially haven't had goalkeepers that you go are world class would go Neuer. I half thought about Pepe Reina, but his kind of reign at Liverpool was kind of coming to an end, as I remember.
See what you did there,
And I
by the
can't-
way. See what you did there, Pepe Rain.
I can't go for Mignolet or Karius. Like,
The other goalkeeper I would go for personally is someone who is like a favourite player of mine would be Casillas.
Yeah, Iker Casillas is
I
such
used
a
to
legend.
watch him a lot.
Yeah, but maybe we
his
do
clips
a,
are always someone I watch as a goalkeeper and younger.
maybe we'll do a honourable mention for each of these
Yeah, I was about
categories.
to say that.
Yeah, so that's it. Alisson, and De Gea. Jamie, go on, talk us through De Gea.
There's not a lot I can say that I haven't already said about De Gea. I mean, in the years I've been alive and watching United actively, David De Gea is my favourite player that I've watched play football, which is mental, but also he's the best goalkeeper United have ever had. That's bold. He has won the Premier League, but only once. But in terms of actually raw ability and not what he's won, honestly, he's mental.
sensational.
He makes it look easy.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
you
I remember his
watch-
first few years.
Yeah, a dodgy couple of seasons, right? Getting into the league, maybe. But even then, he made some absolute worldies of saves. But you watch a De Gea compilation, honestly, it's one of the most satisfying things
It's unreal.
you've ever watched
5
in your
minutes of
life.
it is versus Liverpool.
Yeah.
Mate, so, seriously, whenever we played United, like, it didn't matter. There was a period where we definitely had very equal teams and neither of our teams were very good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just remember going, like, we might edge it, but De Gea's in goal, so we're just not winning it. It literally doesn't matter. We're not going to win this game. And he'd just literally save you every time, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He would pull out the most ridiculous, like, triple, quadruple saves.
Mate, he did it against Wolves the other day. He's been here for 10 years. It's
Yeah.
honestly, he's a phenomenon.
He is
It's like
outrageous.
when you play a lower league team and their goalkeeper has
Yeah.
they tend to prime Buffon. When De Gea plays Liverpool, you go, he's turning to prime De Gea.
Yeah, we do.
Like,
There's-
yeah,
back into
exactly.
front.
There's a great, well, it's not stats, it's just a fact, that there's 2 games that Sir Alex Ferguson ever missed for Man United. And one of them was for
Scouting.
someone's wedding, and the other one was for scouting David De Gea. And
Yeah.
oh man, what
It's
a
crazy.
goalkeeper David De Gea is. That's
Yeah,
all
he's
I've got to
sensational.
say about him.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about goalkeepers because unfortunately they're not just positions that I'm not like I don't understand 100%. Like, it's so difficult to be a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But Alisson, he's just like he's part of the reason that like the last few years has been so enjoyable, just for Liverpool fans and just living life for me. Like when we go through in that Champions League, that save against Napoli,
Yeah.
like outrageous. The assist for the Salah versus you, some of the saves he made in those 2 seasons where we won the Champions League and stuff like that. It's just like,
The goal against West Brom.
and he's sexy as well. That helps.
I think
Like, he's
he
very good
definitely
looking.
came in and took over as the best goalkeeper in the league. I think.
Yeah, I think there's now, and even now I think there's a top 3 or 4. Do you know what I mean? There's
There's a
definitely
good spread of good keepers. now.
Ederson, Alisson, De Gea, and
Mendy.
Mendy's very
Yeah.
decent,
and
isn't he?
Martinez.
Oh,
Martinez
yeah.
is very good, and I'm going to throw Kasper Schmeichel in there because I do think he's a very decent keeper.
To be honest, there's a
He
lot
would
of
be
keepers
playing-
that are. I mean, Fabianski's been brilliant for West
Yeah,
Ham
he's
for
good.
a couple
Fabianski's
of seasons.
good. He's a
But the thing
fantastic
is, with
goalkeeper.
those sort of keepers, is like they're good for those teams.
Yeah,
because in those really tight games against the teams in and around them, they do really well. But then they come up against the Liverpool, United, and they tend to struggle. But yeah, we'll move past keepers quite quickly. We'll go on to right backs again. We're going to go me, Jamie, Toby, or we'll go Toby, Jamie, me. So Tobes, kick us off with your right back.
My right back of choice is Trent Alexander-Arnold.
There we go, Jamie. Who's your right back?
Mine's
of
going
choice?
to take a tiny bit of explaining, but it's Antonio Valencia.
Yeah, mine's Trent Alexander-Arnold. We'll let you go again first, Jamie.
Okay, well, I think that probably one of my favourite managerial decisions that ever came out of United was to move Antonio Valencia from a right midfielder back to a right back, because he signed kind of the year after Ronaldo left. He took the number 7 shirt and wasn't a phenomenon at right mid and dropped the number 7 shirt to 25 really quickly afterwards.
Yeah.
Look, he won the league a couple of times for United in the late Sir Alex Ferguson days, and then during Van Halen kind of Jose Mourinho days, he got pushed back to right back, and honestly, he was like first name on the team sheet for a while. He was an absolute fantastic right back. He's not that right back that makes you fall in love with football or whatever, but the only other option I had was Gary Neville, and I never really watched Gary Neville play at right back.
Yeah.
I just think he was
I was-
brilliant. So
While I was doing this, I mean, there's the obvious candidates. There's like the Dani Alveses and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I just never watched enough of those people. Do you know what I mean? I've
Yeah.
got to go on what I know. And
Also-
And when our criteria is like players who make us fall in love.
Yeah.
with
the thing is,
you're
the
not
thing is
gonna
though,
say those type of players because
but-
like yes, you watch them and you appreciate them and you go, wow, they're fantastic.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll have a comment about yours in a minute, but I think Antonio Valencia was a really, really good defender for someone that moved backwards, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
he scored an absolute thunder bastard against Everton.
he did hit him well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He could hit.
Could hit a ball, but
Brilliant,
no. But my
brilliant
point is, like, just with Dani Alves is like the reason him and Marcelo and stuff like that is because you think of those teams that they played in, and you
Yeah.
go like, right, they are amazing teams, and they're players I pick out from that team as like, you're different to the rest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
why I've gone
yeah.
with Trent, because he's just revolutionised that fullback role. Like, I remember back in the day we signed Klein the season Klopp came in. Roger signed him, and we were like, "Oh, Klein's good. Like, he's decent," and he was all right. And then Trent comes along. Klein gets a massive injury, ends up doing some loads of dodgy stuff while he's out injured, and Trent like completely just changes the role of a fullback, because it was never sexy to sign fullbacks, and then Klopp and Liverpool and Trent and Robbo on the other side have made it sexy to sign a fullback that's good. Do you know what I mean? They've made it like, oh yeah, you can see where they're going signing him. Do you know what I mean? And just Trent, he's just like, the way he passes a football, the way he just plays football is just like mesmeric, I think is the right word to describe it. It's just unbelievable. I think Tobes shares similar views to me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as you say, you've got your Trent and your Robbos, and they. I mean, I think that whilst their passing ability is very similar, Trent obviously edges it that bit. I think Robbo also has a very complete side to his game as well. I think Trent as an all-round defender is very good, but I think Robbo just he.
I wonder who your left back's going to be.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say it
you'll
now.
Be surprised.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I'll carry on. I think as you say, they've revolutionised the fullback position. But I think it's also you still got your standard but good right backs in the likes of like Wan-Bissaka, who is a fantastic defender, and is like
He's like an old school fullback, isn't he? If Trent didn't exist, Wan-Bissaka would be the best defender in the league.
Yeah,
Do you know
and
what I
like,
mean?
if you're looking for someone to go up against in a 1-on-1 and you're the attacker, I don't think you'd be picking Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because he is a right back that you'd probably watch back in the day, just get stuck in.
But yeah, it's kind of taken away from why we picked Trent, really, Toes. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, just Trent is just like, again, he's part of the reason I've enjoyed watching football so much.
I messaged you two the
part of
other
reason-
day and just said, like, if there's one Liverpool player I'm jealous of away from Fabinho, because we don't have that type of player, it is Trent. He's just an unbelievable footballer.
He's so good, isn't he? You said it, didn't you? He picks up the ball. You don't know where it's going.
No,
You
it honestly could go
but
anywhere.
he knows.
But like not
And
in
he
the way
knows.
that like Fred picks up the ball and you're like, bloody hell, this could go anywhere. It's like
This could end up in the back of our net in 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's like this could end up at anybody's feet and it would just land.
It's
Do you-
when Trent's stats popped up on the screen on Sunday for a fullback.
That's outrageous, wasn't it?
Outstanding.
You think of the players in the Premier League, like we've mentioned them today: De Bruyne, Foden, Pogba, Sancho, and Trent's the best out of them all, and he's a right back. It's just, like I just remember. I remember being on holiday when he scored against Hoffenheim and being buzzing for him. I remember him scoring. I just his first few seasons was just it was just amazing. I just like. It makes me a bit giddy talking about it. Do you know what I mean? Like talking about these players and like football, it makes me really giddy. And this is exactly why I wanted to do this episode and not like a best 11, because I knew I'd get this feeling from it. I think we'll go to the other side. We'll go left back and then we'll do the two centre backs. As long as you're playing two centre backs, you're not going radical and doing like five
No,
back or something.
no, I'm not.
You start. You kick us off.
Mine's going to be Robbo. Because the thing is, I was thinking. I'll explain in a minute, but yeah, mine's Robbo. Jamie, where are you going with this one?
Patrice Evra.
I love this game. Toby, where are you going?
I chose John Arne Riise.
Oh my god!
There we go.
There's a
There we
different left back. I was not
There we
expecting that.
go.
I'll explain.
Toes, you go first.
I mean, obviously, as a young boy, you don't remember much, but that man had a left foot. He just was an
Traction cannon. He's got a foot like a traction cannon.
He has a foot like a traction cannon, and
Christ.
he had a ping on him as well, and he was just a joy to watch. from what I remember. Like he was enjoyable, and like we hadn't between him and Robbo, we haven't had a left back like them.
But the thing is,
and it's just like you watch John Arnerita clip, and he's given us some very memorable moments, like goals against big teams like United and Chelsea,
Barcelona away.
Yeah, Barcelona away as well. And like I do consider him a small Liverpool legend. If you like.
The thing is, unfortunately, I don't really remember. I remember a lot when I was younger, and then there's a middle part of my life where I don't remember too much, and then I remember the season I remember very, very well, and I remember every season very, very well onwards is 13-14, and our left back in that season was John Flanagan for a lot of it, and then Jose Enrique was in and around the team for a few years, and I remember it, and the thing is, I just don't remember him at all. Like, I can't tell you. I couldn't have gone Jose Enrique. He was actually a decent enough left back, but I couldn't have gone for him just because.
No. Yeah.
And that's why I've gone Robbo again. The last 5 years of my football, of my life, Robbo has just been like, he just made me love it, love football, love the whole concept of football tactics and stuff like that. And so I'm not going to say much more. We've already covered a lot of him. So I want to go on to Jamie about Patrice Evra.
Yeah, I mean, you've spoken a lot about like players that we remember, like watching them play, and I kind of remember watching the end half of Evra's United career, because he signed quite early into the 2000s and carried on until about 2013-14, I think. So I remember that, and at that point he didn't quite have the turn of pace anymore, and was already kind of a certified United legend at that point, but just the energy off the pitch that Evra has is amazing. The fact that he karate kicked a fan while playing for Marseille is quite funny as well. But he's just brilliant. I think probably my favourite Evra moment, he scored an absolute worldie against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, is my massive Patrice Evra takeaway.
That's
he's
an absolute screamer.
Certified United legend, baller off the pitch, just a nice bloke in general, really.
Yeah,
it seems.
Yeah, it's fair enough. He seems like a top boy, doesn't he? But we're going to centre backs again. I think we're going to have some very similar ones here, Tobes. I'm going to say my two. I've gone for Van Dijk and I've gone for Carlos Puyol. If you've gone for Carlos Puyol, I'm probably just going to stop the video now. Okay, good.
Don't worry.
Okay, good. I've gone for Van Dijk and Carlos Puyol. Jamie, who have you gone for?
I've gone boring and went for Vidic and Ferdinand.
Fair enough. Toby, who have you gone for?
I've gone for also Van Dijk, but I have gone for Daniel Agger.
Oh, that's a banging shout, that is.
That was a last-minute replacement over probably my first honourable mention, which is Sami Hyypiä.
Yeah, go.
I genuinely don't even know who that is. That's amazing.
He is.
I'm going to Google it now while you talk about it.
But he was good. Toes, go talk about Daniel Agger.
Oh, he's one of those defenders you remember watching from when you're younger. Like centre backs for Liverpool has been an up and down roller coaster, and I think Daniel Agger and Martin Skrtel formed one of the most hardcore centre back partnerships the Premier League's ever seen. They're two blokes you don't want to meet in the street. But Daniel Agger, I think he just gave his all for the badge, and what he's done since, like with his charities and his foundations, he's on the pitch. He was, I think, fantastic. He might have had his moments, but he was absolutely hardcore. I remember him losing a tooth on a post and carrying on. He was built of bricks. He ate bricks for breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Wrong order, but who cares? And I just think he's just something as a kid you just watch and you just go, oh wow.
I'm quite surprised that neither of you picked Jamie Carragher.
See, the thing is, again, it's his twilight is all I remember. But the thing is, again, I don't remember. I watched the Liverpool 2005. What's it called? Champions League final. Why did I not know that? I watched that quite a lot because my dad had a video of it, so we watched that quite a lot. And obviously he was immense in that. But it's just I didn't follow football enough to go I love Jamie Carragher.
Right.
He made me fall in love. When I was younger, I've got a letter from my dad. When I used to play football, I didn't want to play centre back. but I was always put there because I was quite good at defending and I was a little bit like chubby, so people couldn't really run past me. But I didn't want to play centre back. And my dad wrote me a letter. Was like, "You can do it. Think like these guys." And I definitely admired Jamie Carragher at the time.
Right.
But right now, I just couldn't like tell you enough.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
I'm
not. I just wondered. You know.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I want you to talk us through Vidic and Ferdinand. I mean, it's pretty standard as United fans.
Yeah, it's very standard.
To be fair. But
that's the problem.
Again, they were outstanding, weren't they?
Yeah, my age is the problem because I probably would have, if I'd have watched them play, then I might have had a Jaap Stam in there. I might have had a Steve Bruce in there. But
I said to you, didn't I? We needed us to be like our age and then someone 20 years older, so we could go, "Who's yours?" and we could talk about what made them. Do you know what I mean? So maybe we'll do that in a day.
We know if we had Dad on here, it'd go straight for Alan Hansen.
Yeah, he loved him, didn't he? Loved him. But go on, Jamie, tell us a bit more.
No, again, it's the same kind of thing as ever. I watched them for their last couple of seasons together at the end of Fergie's reign, but it's more the memories that you don't have that you know that happened of those two.
And when you're younger, it's those things that get like emburdened like in your brain. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like the Champions League final for Liverpool, the Olympiacos Steven Gerrard thing. Like it's like I know he did that, and then I got to watch him do other stuff, and I was like, that's my Steven Gerrard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
so
I think they're probably the best centre back partnership in the Premier League era.
That's a partnership for sure. Yeah, outstanding.
I don't know individually if they'd have been as good. They complement each other so well. You just have.
I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of footballers talking, and a lot of England players, when they go, "Who's the best centre back you've played with?" they go Ferdinand.
Yeah.
They say he has everything, and I mean, I know he did. He's
got height. He's got
even looking back on it now, he was like freakishly fast for centre backs at the time.
Man, yeah.
Like centre backs have evolved and are now quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not a quick centre back, you're a PK. Do you know what I mean?
Over here.
No, but they've evolved, and
yeah.
like he was quick, so it was like, and he can defend, and he can pass. Let's get him. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, it's a great choice, obviously.
Yeah, I mean they just fit the mold of the destroyer, and then someone that can just sweep up everything else that happens. So you get Ferdinand to just run around, and Vidic there to just throw himself at people. I don't have too much to say about them. Really.
No, I mean we went for Van Dijk, didn't we? And again, I'm going to say it again. It's literally the last 5 years. It makes me feel like happy and like giddy, as I said.
Makes me happy. Makes me smile.
Yeah, literally. No, it literally does though. Like, and it's just like Van Dijk. I remember. I remember the first like couple of years. I was like, yeah, he's good. Like he's really, really good. And then he had that injury, didn't he? Last season. And I was watching some of his clips throughout, like when he was injured, and I was like, "Oh my god, he is so good!" But I've just so used to it now. Do you know what I mean? I was watching some of the stuff he was doing. I remember in lockdown, when they were playing those games behind closed doors, and he's done like a backwards header to defend it, and I'm like, "Right, who does that?" Like he's just outrageously good. And I think it's the same for you, Toes, isn't it? Like he's everything that like you want to be as a footballer. Like especially me. Yeah. Like now I know how I want to play football defensively. It's like if I had 1 ounce of his ability, I'd be so happy. Do you know what I mean? If I could pick up that ball and just spray it to that right winger, spray it to that left winger like he can.
He's made watching Liverpool less stressful as well.
Yeah,
because it was very stressful for a few years, especially when we were playing good football before, like the half the season before we got him. There's always that.
Yeah, it was like it's Dejan Lovren at the back, so this ball is ending up in the back of the net. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna say I had a few centre backs on my list. I'll go over Puyol in a minute. I had a few on my list that were a bit controversial. I had Mamadou Sakho. I had Danny Alga. I had Kolo Touré.
I wish we had video so you could just see what my face looked like then. That would have been amazing.
Kolo Touré just made me laugh.
So that's just out of pure vibes there.
He was just one of them funny players, you know what I mean? So I mean there we go. Puyol again.
About Puyol,
the thing with Puyol is like, as I said, he's part of those teams that made me realise like football is really amazing. Like it's like a thing that I love, and it's like not just a hobby. Do you know what I mean? It's like something I want to do and be involved with forever. And he was just like outstanding, wasn't he? Like his leadership qualities. He looked like such a great guy. he just loved playing football. He didn't take it for granted that he was a footballer. He knew that any day it could end, and yeah, he's just an outstanding defender, and he's part of that Barcelona team that I just love. So
I think
so, yeah.
something that both that Puyol and then the Ferdinand Vidic partnership has is they cement a fear factor into the teams they played in. So like that United team that Ferdinand and Vidic were a part of, like I remember being like, oh my, we've got to play United.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because of their attack; it was because of how good their defence was.
Yeah.
And I think it was the same with the Barcelona team that Puyol was a part of. Like,
Yeah.
He was part of one of the best footballing teams ever. And I think teams were genuinely like scared to play them back then.
Yeah.
And yes, they had the attacking threat to justify it, but they also had the defensive capability to also justify it as well.
Yeah.
Puyol was like the centre stone of that almost.
Yeah, that is fair enough. I think we'll go on to the midfield. We're going to say them all, not all together. We're going to say them all three, and we'll compare notes, etc. Tobes, you go first for your three centre midfielders.
So my three centre midfielders, I've gone Xabi Alonso, Steven Gerrard, and then Ronaldinho as a cam. I know people might consider he was a left winger, but he is in my midfield.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Jamie, go for yours.
I've gone Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes, and Ander Herrera.
Fair enough. I've gone Steven Gerrard, I've gone Jorginho Wijnaldum, and I've gone Yaya Toure.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you want to kick it off with the two English players from yours and the one English player from ours? We'll go with Paul Scholes, Carrick, and Gerrard.
Okay, I'll start with Carrick because he's not quite in the same league as those other two. But I mean, in the United team that he played in, it was so important to have a player like him next to Scholes or whoever was playing centre mid, because with the players in front, you have to be ready to lose the ball a lot. And to have a player like that behind them who can just pick the ball up, pass it to Scholes every time, is so important. And he was so brilliant at it. And I just wish he was still young enough to play in the United side now, because it would really help us out. But that's why he's in there, because he was brilliant in the position. I mean, I'm playing 4-3-3-2 for the people that play FIFA, and the people that aren't nerds, that's just one with one centre defensive midfielder and two eights. But yeah, he's the best number 6 that United have had in the past 15 years. So he had to go in there for me because I wanted to pick most of the United players. If not, probably would have picked someone like Busquets, but that's a bit boring, isn't it? So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Biscuits.
Yeah.
Let's go Scholes and Gerrard at the same time, I guess.
Well, you start. You go Gerrard, because I just spoke about
Gerrard was who I wanted to be when I was younger. I just loved him.
I think it was who most Liverpool fans wanted to be.
Yeah, I just if I could have been him, if I could just meet him, I would. He's just like a legend, isn't he? He's the most complete centre midfielder I've seen play for Liverpool. He could do everything. He was quite quick. He was really good on the ball. Amazing passing range. He passes like Trent does, and that's something I've not seen in very many people.
He had underrated, I think, like dribbling technique on the.
Yeah, he did. Well. He was really good on the ball. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much because it's obvious why I've gone Gerrard. The other two I want to talk about. So
I think just to add a quick note about Gerrard and Scholes. I think. Obviously, there's an ongoing debate which will probably go on until the end of time about who's better between Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampard. But I think the fact that they're in the same conversation and people debate about them just shows that they are as good as each other.
Yeah.
Like there probably will never be a definitive answer because people will never be able to agree, and that's fair enough. People have their opinions, and you've got to respect those opinions. And I just think how all of it just shows how good they are. That you can't agree on who's the better one. And I just think in their own light, they're just both fantastic footballers.
Yeah.
They both could do things of a football that I think a lot of midfielders in the modern era probably would dream of.
Yeah, for sure. Toes, you went Xabi Alonso, and Jamie, you went Ander Herrera. Let's go through those.
2 Spaniards.
Let's go through those two. Yeah, they're very different in their approach as well. So
you could say
let's
that.
Let's go on it.
Toes, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll take the lead. With Xabi Alonso, I genuinely... we talk about players who made us fall in love with football, and he was one of those players. There was that thing during lockdown floating around, the 4 footballers who made you fall in love with football, and he was the one that came to my head immediately. It's just the way he could pass a ball. He was a maestro, and I think something for me was when he left from Madrid. Genuinely one of the first transfers, if not the first transfer, that made me cry. It's probably one of the first things.
Do you know what was weird?
That made me cry.
It was probably the first transfer I remember.
Yeah, it's like one of the first transfers I remember as well, and I just think he just had such an impact. I wanted to play like Stevie G, but I wanted to have the passing range and composure of Xabi Alonso as well. I just thought that's like one of the things he could do with a football. I think a lot of people appreciate it as well, especially after he went to like Madrid and Bayern Munich. He was just like someone like the team would look to and just be like, we want to be like you almost.
Yeah.
I just think that's something I grew up just wanting to be like, just have that right foot of Xabi Alonso, a combination of Gerrard and Xabi Alonso's right foots.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. I do agree. I think he was sensational. I went slightly different because there are other players that I did love, so I wanted to go that way. Jamie, talking for Ander Herrera, we had a little chat about it the other day.
Yeah, this is probably him and maybe Valencia are probably the two in my team that are a bit of left field probably, but it kind of comes back down to this idea of watching football and being 20 and not having watched football for 50 years or whatever. But he is the number 8 that I remember at United as being just the absolute tireless midfielder who would just run around for you for 90 minutes, will do everything that the manager asked him to do. Specifically, I remember him playing against Chelsea at Old Trafford, and just absolutely pocketing Eden Hazard in one of his best seasons.
I remember that.
Yeah.
He was just brilliant, and he still is. I'm really disappointed we let him go for free because I think he still walks into our midfield now, and he plays regularly in the Champions League for PSG.
Season with PSG.
Yeah, he's playing really well at one of the best clubs in Europe. So I think it's a disappointment that he went. Maybe he didn't fit what Oli was doing with the club. He was a bit of a relic of the Van Gaal / Mourinho era, but I just think he was so well rounded, so United as well. He's one of those players that kind of embodies that. Once you've played for United, you're always United, and I think that for him especially was the case. So that's why he's in there.
Yeah, it's exactly the same for me with Wijnaldum. He was just like, I just loved him. Like, he was just the player that I could tell when Klopp got him. Klopp was like, get in. That is exactly who I wanted, and you can see for the next 5 years. I just loved Wijnaldum. I just loved the way he played football. I just loved everything about him. Really, he was just really silky on the ball. So yeah, he gets in because of that. You've touched on a lot of the things that he in your Ander Herrera one, Jamie. So I'm not going to
fair enough.
Too deeply. I just honestly, he's just Wijnaldum is the player outside of the obvious in this Liverpool team that we've already mentioned that I adore. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's the player that I'm like, that I did adore. Like, when he played for Liverpool, I just thought whenever he was on the pitch, I was like, I love him, watching him play. I love the fact he plays for my club, and I love the fact that in 10 years' time I can go to people, do you remember Wijnaldum? Yeah, I used to love him and stuff like that. So
I was going to touch on that as well. I think there might be a bit of dispute between a lot of Liverpool fans about Wijnaldum, unfortunately, but I think in a few years' time, as you say, when you talk about the Klopp era,
he'll definitely one of those players that you go to.
You'll bring him up and made the Klopp era carry on for a few years. But you talk about Wijnaldum in that Klopp era.
For sure. Yeah, and then obviously I had a bit of a left field one with Yaya Toure. I did a little Google and thought, who could I put in? And I saw him, and I just remember thinking like what a player. Even though he played in Liverpool's rivals, I just remember thinking like he is sensational. On the ball, he was powerful. He was really quick. He was strong, and not just that, he was so technically good at football. It was ridiculous. For a guy his size, he should not have been able to move and strike a ball like he did. There's that goal he scores in the League Cup final where he's about 45 yards out and he just caresses it into the goal, and I just applaud him. Like, if I could be him again, I would be him. Like, just an effortless footballer. I thought about going Zidane, and they're kind of similar in that sense, like really powerful, really strong footballers. But I was like, I've got to go Yaya, just because he didn't look like he ever tried too hard, because he didn't, because he was just so natural to him. So yeah, I've got to go Yaya. It leads us on to the front three. I think Tobes and I, again, we're going to both have at least one, maybe two that are the same here. So I'm going to go first. I've gone for Salah, Suarez and Messi. Jamie, who have you gone for?
I've got Ronaldo, Nani and Wayne Rooney.
I have gone for Salah, Torres, and Messi.
Yeah, there we go. I think Toes and I, let's kick this off with Salah and Messi. We already talked about Salah, and again,
Yeah.
he's just the boy, isn't he? He's
He
probably
is.
the greatest Liverpool player of all time. I know
I
that
was
he's
about to
pushing it
say,
out
yeah.
there, but he's got to be in that conversation.
I said this the other day. Like, when do we start having that conversation about Mo Salah being the best Liverpool player?
He's
ever?
just a sensational footballer.
Yeah,
He's
and that is
like
saying a lot.
he is my like my dad's got Kenny. I've got Salah now. Do you know what I mean? I'm always
Yeah.
going to have Salah, and I'm always going to be able to go. When I was 17 to 21 or 16 to 21, Salah literally was my life. Like, just such a good footballer. So technically good on the ball.
He turned your world around.
He has. I see it differently. Mo Salah. No, yeah, I love him.
It's the same for me.
Yeah, there's not much we can say. We spoke about him so much earlier in this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so tricky on the ball. He's so quick. He's just good.
We could talk about him for hours.
Yeah, and then we've both got
shouldn't
Messi
do
in
that.
there.
Yeah.
And Messi, I could have gone Ronaldo, but the thing with Ronaldo is I loathed him because he was a United player. So I was never going to go Ronaldo. But Messi, it's just Messi, isn't it? I don't know how much else more I can say. Just,
Like, him and Ronaldo will go down as the best two footballers ever.
Yeah.
Probably. And like,
They are.
And they will. There's no doubt about it. We've got upcoming talent, but I don't think anyone will reach the category of Ronaldo and Messi. And for me, Messi, just watching over the years, I remember watching the final against Man United back in
2010, mate.
Oh, yeah.
2010. It was 2010 because it was my football team watching it at one of our lads' houses, and like him in that final was just tall.
Outrageous
tall
footballer.
apart.
Outrageous footballer. He is so good.
And you
So
watch
good.
like compilations of him, and like it's just like
It's
at
that-
19 he looked so complete already. Like 19, 20, 21, he looked so complete.
The
as a
phrase I
footballer.
always use for him is like, "How's he done that then?" Like, he gets the ball and I go, How has he actually done that?
So that guy went to PSG in the Champions League last season.
Yeah.
How has he done that then?
Because he doesn't look like he should be able to, and he does it. But it's that goal against
Yeah.
Bayern where he sits Boateng
Oh.
down. I'm like, how have you made a grown man do that in front of 90,000 people? Like, easily. Do you know what I mean? He's just he's just sensational. Jamie, talk us through two of yours. Pick your two, and then we'll do the last one together.
Well, you've just done both your wingers, so I'll do both my wingers.
Okay.
I'll do Nani first because he's my right winger. I think Nani is the literal embodiment of someone that plays excellently one week and awfully the next week. But when he plays well, he was literally unplayable.
Funnily enough, that also fits the other use of Nani. She sometimes cooks amazingly, sometimes it's pretty bad. So there you go. He's good for a
Sometimes
lot of
maybe
things,
good,
isn't he?
sometimes maybe. Nani was amazing. There's a goal that he scored against Arsenal, which is one of the best goals that's ever been scored in the Premier League, and it just doesn't get talked about. Where he just Ronaldo chops through two defenders, kind of cuts in but doesn't really, and then chips it from about 20 yards out, just straight over the goalkeeper and into honestly, he was like Ronaldo level good when he was good, but then he just put in like a really bad performance in between.
Federico Makeda.
Yeah.
Good, bad when he was bad. Do you know what I mean?
He won us the league, mate. I can't worry about that. But anyway, no, he's got to be in there because I just think he was brilliant. There's some goals that I watch him score and I'm like, that's stupid. You shouldn't even try that from there.
Yeah.
But that was the type of player he was, and I think he's another one of those Herrera players that wears that United badge on his sleeve.
Can I
still.
make a point on him?
Yeah, go on.
I think he's like a frustrating player because he always seemed to have like purple patch of like 5, and you're like, go on, like he's decent. And to be fair, he was always one of those players that I was like, oh, he's quite cool. Like, go on, score a few goals, and then he just didn't. And it's like, why? Like,
5-star
decent,
though.
mate.
So there's that.
Has World Peace got that?
Yeah,
No, I'm joking,
exactly.
I'm joking. No, that's fair enough.
And then
Go on,
switch
go with
sides,
Ronaldo.
we go to Ronaldo. And Ronaldo's the only player that I've picked that isn't there because of the performances he's put in for Man United.
Maybe this season, but
Well, I don't know yet. We'll decide at the end of the season. But there's that one season, the season before he left for Real Madrid. I don't mean that. The season before he left for Real Madrid, that was his best season for United, which was like just completely unbelievable. winning the Champions League and all that. But I've picked him for the Real Madrid years, to be honest, because he left United at completely the right time for his career.
Yeah.
Went into this team a excellent professional, and just tore it to absolute shreds. His goal scoring record, I know that Messi's is immense as well, but both together, it's truly unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
It's
what I think is mental about it is the fact there's two of them at the same time.
I know, right?
If there was two of them in like different eras, you'd go, "Oh, that's cool." Like he's like the new Ronaldo, or he's the new Messi. But it's like, no, they're doing it at the same time. It's just outrageous.
But it's not just that; it's longevity. It's the quality of the goals. Some of them obviously aren't, and some of them penalties, whatever. But
the thing is, that's the thing is, though, like, I think people paint this in their head like every goal needs to be 60-yard screamer. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, Ronaldo's got a great footballing brain, the same as Messi. They just know where to be. You know what I mean? But they know where to be in such different ways. Like, Messi doesn't have a position when he plays, does he? He just floats. Whereas Ronaldo is like, I'm going to be in these lines the whole game, and I will do my business in these lines.
Yeah.
But when he was a winger, he'd barely cut in onto the opposite wing. Do you know what I mean? And as a striker, he barely moves out of those 18-yard lines. But he's just so effective in that section of the pitch. I said that really weird, didn't I?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's spoken every word there is to say about Ronaldo. He's one half of the best players of all time. He's got to be in there.
Yeah. I think we might do a Messi Ronaldo episode the next international break. I was just thinking we might do that, so it'd be quite interesting to just talk about them and their careers, etc. But leads us on to all of our strikers. We've got
all different strikers actually, which is good.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we do.
it's good.
We've got Suarez, Torres, and Rooney. I'm going to kick it off with Suarez because it's even Torres is the same. Like, both had an unbelievable season at Liverpool where they scored 31 goals and basically, they are the top scorers behind Salah in one season. And Suarez, he was just like good. It just frustrates me that he bit people. Like, slight downside on his character, but do you know what I mean? He is like, he's just great footballer. That season at Liverpool was dynamite. He was sensational in that season. Dragged us to the within 3 points of a title, which no one ever expected at the start of the season. And then he went to Barcelona, and then MSN again. He was with Messi, wasn't he? So just those teams were just some of the teams that I just adored watching, and Suarez was a big part of them. He scored goals at World Cups and stuff like this. Like, I can't.
Saved goals at World Cups.
He did exactly. He does everything for me. He literally does everything. But no, he's just a great footballer, natural finisher. Really skillful as well, really clever on the ball, really technical. So he's there because of that. I mean, I could have gone Torres, I probably could have gone I love Mane, I love Firmino, but just Suarez gave me that, like, I could have gone Sturridge as well, who I'm now potentially regretting not putting him. He probably doesn't get in over Mo Salah or Messi, so we'll probably save him for next time. But that's my take on Suarez. I'm interested to see who wants to take the floor next, and we'll discuss your guy.
Jamie, you go ahead.
Yeah, I can do that.
Renee.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of not in the same ilk, but a lot has been said about Wayne Rooney. Whether he was as good as people think he was, or if he's not as good as people think he was, or that kind of thing. But I really start remembering football the year that Wayne Rooney came into fruition, which was the year after Ronaldo left for Real Madrid, the 2009-2010 season. And I'll be completely honest with you, he is my favourite Man United player by a long distance.
Understandable.
He is obviously United's record goal scorer, and he's had some unbelievable seasons. He had unbelievable seasons up until he left. He didn't not score.
Really good, yeah.
I don't think there's a season he didn't score 20 goals for United.
It's outrageous.
He's the player that I wanted to be when I grew up. Oh man, even it was some anniversary of his debut the other day, and the fact that at 18 he came into the Champions League team and scored a hat-trick.
Yeah, it's outrageous,
mate.
Isn't it?
Bonkers.
I always struggle to think how United fans could ever have animosity towards him. Because it's like he is one of your best players ever. Like, you forgive those little hiccups. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think the reason he agreed to leave twice.
But
ended
again,
up
he
getting
stayed and
better contracts the next day. But he's a certified United legend. I don't think anybody is going to be.
But this is what I'm saying. Is like there's like a very split opinion in your fan base on Rooney, isn't there? Because of those leaving and stuff like that. But he didn't. He stayed and he did what he did for your club. So there's not really any debate in it for me. Like, he's a sensational footballer. I never wanted to ever admit that, but he is like a great footballer.
I think it's like the way he's built as well. He
Yeah.
have played football the way he did play football. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I think many people, like, when they saw those T90s.
Oh man, yeah.
And then that Premier League football, and then that bald head, it was just like that struck fear. I don't think only into fans, but also into footballers.
Yeah.
And it's just like that period of Rooney was just.
My career could be over now.
Yeah. He scored one of the most iconic goals in the Premier League history as well.
He did,
There's that.
Yeah.
My dad was there, by the way. I should point that
That is
out. Give him some
outrageous.
props.
That is outrageous.
Can you imagine being there for
Great
that
game.
goal? Mad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mental,
I think my only other honourable mention for the striker position is Dimitar Berbatov, which is very kind of strange, but
No, he's
Completely understandable.
yeah, bit of an enigma at United. Much better than he was at Spurs, but also provided one of the greatest assists against West Ham for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Nutty good, isn't he?
Could probably have gotten into the team for that, but he was one of the laziest players I
Everton.
ever watched play football. So it was incredibly frustrating, but was
You haven't
also
watched me play football yet, then?
technically brilliant. No, honestly, mate, you'd run around more than he did in a game. But, the fact that he didn't run, maybe even makes it even better. The fact that he scored the goals that he did. But yeah, he's my honourable mention. Rooney is my final player in my team for being an absolute baller.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Toes, go on. See us out with Torres.
Fernando Torres. I think
El Nino.
Sorry. El Nino. He is my first love ever. That man. I watched him play. And he brought tears to my eyes. The way he hit that football.
He has scored one of the best goals I've seen.
Oh, that one against Blackburn.
Yeah, he brings it down his chest and lobs the
100%.
keeper.
I just think it's the way he played for us. He went in and out of players, like at speed, and it was just dangerous to watch him play. And I did cry when I found out he went to Chelsea, because I was going to get Liverpool top with his name on. Thankfully, I didn't. He went to Chelsea a month later.
He's such a classic 9 as well, such a classic striker. Do you know what I mean? Like,
he gave us some of the most enjoyable seasons of football, and Suarez is my second choice for striking. I did love Suarez dearly as well, and he was fantastic. But Torres, I just remember watching him. I just was like, because at the time, I mean, I've been a very attacking footballer throughout my childhood footballing career, and I just tried to base so much of what I did off him. Like, I wanted to be quick on the ball. I wanted to strike a ball like him. I just wanted to be Fernando Torres, and I think when he went to Chelsea, I did have a lot of hate for him at the time, but afterwards I was just like, I just can't hate the guy.
Yeah, you
for
got to
how he made
separate
me
that.
feel.
Yeah,
And
yeah, because
go on, you go.
No, you finish what you're going to say.
I was just going to reiterate. He did bring some of the happiest seasons I've watched Liverpool, and watching a single footballer as well was just watching Fernando Torres.
Yeah, that. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, that is fair enough.
Nice one.
What you've got to remember is football. Like, it's all about emotion, isn't it? It's all about how it makes you feel. Like, a lot of people don't really understand why people are obsessed with football, but when you're in it, you're like, this is exactly why I'm obsessed with football. Do you know what I mean? And these players are exactly why we are obsessed with football. That was a really good chat, I think. It was really nice to hear everyone's thoughts on players and football as they're growing up. No, that's fine. Thank you very much for coming on. Toby, would you like to plug one social media? You get to do one, because we don't get many impressions, but
One social media.
Just not your Snapchat.
Yeah, I'll go Twitter. It's @tgenery.
Yeah, there we go. Follow Toby on Twitter @tgenery. I'm sure he'll retweet and comment on whatever this is when it comes out tomorrow. So yeah, that was a really good episode. I mean, fingers crossed we're joined with another guest next week. He's not replying to me at the moment, so I'm going to get onto him and book him in. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me again, Jamie.
Oh no worries. I'm here whenever you need me. It was lovely. Nice to have Tobes on as well.
Yeah, it was good.
Thank you.
It was good. Let's
Thank you.
follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, all of that good stuff, and we will speak to you next week. See you later.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Goodbye. Thank you.